Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Shawn Mackey Show. He's so unpredictable. Mother Nature calls him for advice. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Season number 2, episode 8. Yes, we are getting this recorded on a Thursday afternoon. Probably get it posted by Friday. Talking about some Bears news. Maybe talking about some Cubbies. The Cubbies clinched the playoffs right now. Still got about 10 or 11 games, 10 games left, I think. And they just kind of swept the Pirates. So still 5 games back in the National League Central, but leading the wild card by about 5.5 games. Man, I know we didn't want them to be a wild card contender. At some point this season, every fan was hoping the Cubs were going to end up winning this division. Still have a chance. Brewers could falter. Cubs could rise up and take over the National League Central. Stranger things have happened in Major League Baseball, right? Don't want to get into the 69 Cubbies just yet. But we got the Chicago Bears. We got Ben Johnson giving a press conference, an entire article written about how he's upset. And he let the players know it, that the practices were not championship caliber practices. What? Aren't you the guy that sets the tone for those practices? Do you have no consequences in place when guys are lollygagging on the field and not finishing out strong toward the end of practices? Are you letting guys slide and continuing to play them in the game? This is a big issue for me with major league sports. The NFL, Major League Baseball. Although in baseball, we tend to see managers pull guys for not performing the way they feel that guy should be performing. But the problem that I see lies in with these huge dollar amount contracts. You're paying so-and-so X amount of dollars, and it's usually a high amount. And then you kind of let them slide and get away with things. You know, and it's just a crazy, crazy beast to me that money dictates what happens on the football field. You know, Ben Johnson thinks their practice habits are yet to reflect a championship caliber team. He talks about going to the football, finishing hard. We talk about it all the time with the offensive players, that our fundamentals, our finish, and our technique, that they need to show up in walkthrough. Hey, everybody knows from youth football on up, the way you practice is the way you play. If you have a shit-ass practice all the time and you're lazy and you don't do anything, first of all, hopefully your teammates call your ass out, especially if they're busting their ass. But if coaches continue to let guys play, knowing that all practice long during the week leading up to a game, that they didn't finish hard, they didn't finish strong, to me, that's a coaching issue. And I said last week, you know, I don't think this is a Ben Johnson thing, but then he comes out and says something like that. And you have to wonder, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So I don't know if the Bears are going to be able to get that fixed. I know recently Jalen Johnson kind of said something, responding to a tweet maybe on X about, you know, use him more. Or no, I'm sorry. Oh, Jiminy Crickets. I think that was Jaquan Brisker. You know, and it sounds to me like you've already got guys calling out this coaching staff after week 2. You started 0-2. As fans, we had high hopes for this team. On paper, we thought, man, this is going to be good. But I've recently saw clips in which people are calling for Ryan Poles firing. I'm on that board. I don't think Ryan Poles really knows what he's doing. And as fans, we don't want to sit around and wait. I don't understand why the last 2 GMs for the Chicago Bears have been inexperienced guys who don't know really what they're doing. And they don't have a mentor. And we're looking at players that Ryan Poles has brought in and given Ben Johnson to work with. And on paper, they might have been great. But you've got guys with, second round draft picks with as healthy scratches, and all the other teams with second round draft picks that guys are starting, So that's something that we're going to have to wait and see and how that plays out. But Ben Johnson is talking about, these are things guys know since youth football. Well, then hold them fucking accountable. Quit fucking baby coddling these guys. I love the days back when coaches and GMs would just get rid of players for fucking making stupid mistakes or not hustling or not playing. I think your hardest working guys should be the guys who get the time. And if they're not talented enough and you continue to play guys who are showing in practice that they're just not all there and they're really not doing the things you want them to do, you got to look in the mirror as a coach. That's the way I look at it. Now, today, Thursday, Bears have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys on the injury report. Out of those 9, only one of them had full participation. Ja'Day Walker. DeAndre Swift was limited. So was Grady Jarrett. Kieran Amagaji, TJ Edwards, Kyler Gordon, DeMarco Jackson, Jalen Johnson, and the new guy you brought in, who's not really a new guy with the Bears, Jalen Jones, did not practice either. So we're going to have to wait and see what the game time decisions are and who ends up on the injury report. So you can't, and you got that many guys on your injury report. You got to start looking at your strength and conditioning guy. The fuck's going on there? I don't get it. Too many injuries. So we got an elbow, 4 hamstrings, a groin, and we know Jalen Johnson's out indefinitely right now. Grady Jarrett's dealing with a knee. DeAndre Swift's dealing with a quad. It's kind of like baseball, though. DeAndre Swift fumbles in the last game, and all of a sudden, I got a little bit of an injury. It's like all the Cubs starters and pitchers who go out and have a bad game, and then next thing you know, they're on the IL. So it's just a crazy, crazy beast to me. I mean, you getting paid a shit ton of money. You should be in peak physical condition. I know some injuries are unavoidable. Some things happen. But if you're in proper shape and you're in peak physical condition, you tend not to have that many injuries. I love looking back at some of these old guys. I was watching Utah State play the other day, and I noticed that their field was called Merlin Olsen Field. And if you're not familiar with Merlin Olsen, this is a guy who played like 15 years in the NFL, went to 14 Pro Bowls, and I don't think he had any stints on the injury list. He went on to become an actor. Many of you may know him. If you're my age, you probably remember him first for starring in, and not really one of the stars, but he was in a lot of episodes of The Little House on the Prairie. I think he had his own show called Father Murphy at some point. And this is a giant of a man, 6'5", 230, 240 pounds, and he's in a TV show where he's a priest. Well, shit. I feared the pastors and priests anyway, and then now you got a guy like that who's a priest or a pastor. But those old school guys, they got after it. They didn't spend a lot of time on the injury list. And nowadays, you got guys getting paid millions and millions of dollars to make this their only gig, and they're not in peak physical condition, and they're always getting hurt constantly. And they'll sputter around the league for 4, 5, 6 years, maybe end up even getting that pension, but never really playing and seeing the light of day. So I really hope that Kyler Gordon gets back on the field soon. I was not impressed with him his first couple of seasons with the Bears, but I think the Bears kind of finally figured out where he should play and what he should do. And we got to really see what is going to go on with him this week. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys on the injury list. Holy crap. And we got to see what happens come game time. Who's going to be the healthy scratch? Where's Luther Burden III? This is a guy that they drafted so highly, and I think he still has only one catch for -3 yards. Colston Loveland has still yet to see any major action. I read an article recently in which it seemed like, or no, I was watching a post. One of the experts on 670 The Score out of Chicago was talking about how, most coaches have those 10 or 15 plays that they script at the beginning of the game, and then the game plan kind of takes shape as the game goes on. You make adjustments. You see what the other team is doing. You have all these coaches up in the booth and on the sidelines. You got the tablets. Guys are supposed to be looking those over and saying, okay, look at this is what they're doing when we run this. So now if they're going to do this while we run this, this is what we should do instead. Disguise that package. Make it look like that's what you're going to run, and you run something totally different. And that kind of, screws up the other team, starts making them or forcing them to make adjustments to what you're doing. So we still haven't seen that. We got Dallas coming up this weekend. Years and years ago, I might have feared every time we played Dallas. I do kind of fear it now at sitting at 0-2 and what we can end up expecting. I swear to the good Lord up above, the little baby Jesus, if this team ends up with a worse record than they did last year, with all the guys Ryan Poles brought in, with the new coach, where do we end up as Bears fans saying this is the fucking problem? And I'm going to give you a little secret. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. Hint, hint, hit. It's ownership. It's Chicago sports ownership all the way around. The third largest market in the country, and most of these sports owners, to me, it seems like they don't give a flying fuck what kind of product they put on the field, because they will continue to make money, and that's all that matters to them, is making the money, the bottom line, the almighty dollar. And when fans continue to go to the games, you don't send any kind of message to ownership. And I get it. Tickets are so expensive nowadays. If you bought tickets in the off season expecting this year to be better, I know for me personally, I'd be like, we spent $400 on these 2 tickets. We're still going to go. Now, if I know I can sell those tickets and someone else is willing to go, great. But then again, if you continue to fill the seats, what needs to happen, possibly with the Chicago Bears, is the fans just need to stop going. If there's nobody in the seats, sure, you made the money on selling those tickets, but how much money are you going to lose in concession sales, gear sales? Most of the stores inside the stadium or the little kiosks, that's all going into the Bears' pocket. Those are Bears employees. So it's not, I don't know what the answer is, but we need to see some victories. We need to see some victories being stacked up here by this new coach. And don't get me started. Some people might come in here and say, you got to give it time. Well, how many times have we seen brand new head coaches come in and go to the playoffs or immediately turn a team around? Hell, I can think about like last year with Dan Quinn coming over from Dallas, taking the head coaching job in Washington. They got Jaden Daniels. They went to the playoffs. They didn't do much, but they had a good record. We know they beat the Bears, right? Because of Tyreek Stevens' fucking stupid ass mistake taunting the fans after they took a late lead. I'm still kind of miffed about last week, looking back at some film in that Detroit game, and how did they give them a 6 extra seconds, even with the runoff toward the end of that half? And that dude Tesla made that one-handed grab, and he had a knee down, both knees down, both feet inbounds, both knees down, being touched before his upper body even hits the ground, and then kind of just slides out of bounds, and they end up calling him out of bounds. I don't get that one. How? Holy crap. So I know there are many people upset in the NFL with officiating. I personally believe since the advent of replay, officiating has gotten worse. Because I think there's a lot of officials who are like, fuck it, it doesn't matter. If I blow the call, coaches are going to challenge. Or now you got this new, in the NFL, you got this new whole challenge assist or replay assist thing where they can kind of look at it before either coach calls for a challenge and then overrule and overchange things. But there, they should have all those crazy ass camera angles and they should be able to get it right. And it's the same thing in Major League Baseball. Man, I just think that we're seeing a watered down version of professional sports all the way around. I don't get it. I don't know where it goes. I don't know how you fix it. And you know why I don't know? Because I'm just a fan. I don't get paid to do that. I don't work for those organizations. So I don't have any input on the say except for what I say behind this microphone. That's it. That's the only place it stands. So we've got, who do we got tonight coming up in Thursday night football? I want to say, let me check. I think it's the Jets and the Bills. And you can hear some typing coming up here. So I work while I'm working. So who do we got tonight? Week 3 schedule. Let's pop this open here and see what happens. And I think it's the Jets and the Bills, in which case you've got Justin Fields has been already ruled out for week 3. He has a little bit of an injury going on. And for all you Justin Fields fans who said the Bears should have kept him, well, right now, Caleb Williams is grading out better than Justin Fields. I never liked the guy. I didn't like the guy. I don't think he's going to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. I hope the hell he sticks around long enough to earn his pension for beating up his body the way he did and being put through the things that he had to be put through as I'm sorry. It's Miami and Buffalo. Okay, so why did I say the Jets? I don't know. Why did I keep thinking that? Maybe I just saw the schedule and I saw that it was green. But it's Miami and Buffalo. So, Dolphins are 0-2. The Bills are 2-0. Could be one of those blowout games favoring the Bills. And I said this before, I got a little soft spot for the Bills, especially after witnessing them lose 4 Super Bowls in a row. You had to win one of those. And Scott Norwood missed that kick, and that was the game you could have won. Oh, Jesus Christ, Yemeni. But the Dolphins are 0-2, and, their coach, in his infinite wisdom, said in order to win games in the NFL, you got to win the games and not lose. Well, no shit. No shit. But here's another guy. Didn't have a lot of coaching experience, very young, got that job. Now I'm starting to think he's a little bit out of his league here. But do I blame him? No. Shit, if some guy knocked on my door today and said, yeah, we need you to coach the Dolphins. I know you only coached high school, but we're at our wits' end. We need something to do. Come out and be our new head coach. Fuck yeah, I'd go. I'd sign the contract. I'd be there in practice and like, all right, you guys have been around forever. So you assistant coaches, I'm going to let you run some shit and then I'm going to figure it out. and then I'm going to let you know what I need to do. So uh, I'd take the job too, but I've not been in the league. It's something that I never. Not that I never aspired to it. It's just one of those deals when you grow up the way I grew up with the family I grew up, and you were told most of the time that you wouldn't ever go on to do those. You kind of looked and said, well, I'm not going to have any of these lofty goals and dreams because, like my dad said, it'll never happen. But as I've gotten older, I realize anything can happen. Fuck, there was a dude who was 4'9" who was playing D1 football uh, for 4 years in college just because he had the heart and the determination. I don't remember his name. I want to say he played for Tulane. I don't know. But anything's possible, you know? And I know in high school, I played against 3 or 4 dudes at opposing high schools that went on to play pro ball from Chicago. And it was so weird to me because growing up, you look at these things and you're like, there's not a lot of guys in the pros who are from Chicago. But then there really are. There really, really are. So, different set of circumstances, how I grew up, things I might have known now that I should have known back then might have been a different story for a couple of different sports. But, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit look at what we got going on in the NFL this week. Like I said, the Cubbies, they clinched that wild card for sure. Or not the wild card. They didn't clinch the wild card yet, but they clinched a playoff berth. They still have an opportunity to possibly overtake the Brewers depending on how the schedule plays out. The Cubs do have the Reds coming up here starting tomorrow. And right now, how many games are left? We are at 88 and 64, 152. So 10 games left. Anything can happen. Cubs continue on this hot streak. They win 3 out of, I don't even know how many they're playing, but sweep the Reds. Brewers lose. You could be right there a game back. Cubs could still take over the National League Central. We'll have to see how that plays out. One guy I haven't talked about this season on the Cubs who is doing a tremendous freaking job is Cade Horton. Wow. This guy just keeps putting up the numbers. I think he's one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break. Something like a 0.93 ERA. Just getting the job done, at least while he's on the mound. So a nice bright spot for the Cubs is Colin Ray. Comes out 10-6. And this blew my mind that they started him in the bullpen. Because he'd been a starter for a while. And then he gets thrust into that starting role again when the Cubs start having some injuries. And he's doing a good job for the Cubs. He's at 10-6. I like that. Shota, like I said, he's been giving up some of those home run balls. So I think the last time I looked, Shota was at 24 home runs. But I think his last outing he gave up 3. So let's take a look and see where we're at with Shota and his stat line for this season. So he's 9-7, so still has a winning record. He has, where did it go? Let's see. Yep. This year he's given up 27 home runs. So kind of having a rough patch there with giving up the home run ball. So in his major league career, 2 years with the Cubs, he's given up 53 home runs. So he's got to kind of get that fixed if we want to move forward here into the playoffs. So I know Cade Horton's a bright spot. We all know Matthew Boyd has been a bright spot for the Cubs, right? This is his rookie season. He's 13-8, 174 innings pitched, 151 strikeouts, and he has a 1.1 whip. That's pretty damn good. So I'm really impressed with Matthew Boyd. I like that aspect. So we know Cade Horton, wanted to give him a little bit of love boat. All right. So we got Kyle Tucker. He went on the IL. He's getting some second opinions now for that groin, not even for the wrist. Do we see Kyle Tucker in a Cubs uniform? Do we see him on the field at any point during the rest of the season, especially with the playoffs? Seiya Suzuki has been a really good bright spot in the outfield and as a DH for the Cubs. Let's hopefully we can catch lightning in a bottle with Justin Turner. The guy's been a pretty good ball player in the playoffs the last couple of years, especially with the Dodgers. So maybe Justin Turner kind of turns it up a notch during the playoffs. We'll see who the heroes are in as we continue to get through the season. Nico Horner is having a great season. He's currently hitting 303. Gotta like it. Gotta love it. I know he struggled at the beginning of the season. Always a good contact guy. Doesn't have a lot of home runs. He's got 35 to his credit for his career, 6 this season. But he's not a power guy. He's a second baseman. He's the guy you need or want to hit with contact. Make good contact. Drive in runs. Get those base hits. He has 168 hits in 555 plate appearances for a 303 average. So we got some good things for Nico Horner going on as we move into October. And I know in last season when I started the podcast, and I wasn't down on the Cubs, there's just some issues. You know, Jed Hoyer, don't like that whole extension thing. He didn't do anything at the trade deadline. The team seemed to be a repeat of, it's basically the same team as it was last year when they didn't make the playoffs. So you had to wonder what was going to happen. But it was good to see the Cubs with the celebration and the champagne and the fancy ass goggles that they put on to protect their eyes from all the shooting champagne that was going around. You know, waste that champagne, right? Shake it up, put that thumb on the hole, spray it all over everybody. Ooh. I've never been in a position like I won one championship in my life. The first year I played semi-pro football, we ended up going 9-0. I was on defense. Our defense had 5 shutouts that year. We won the whole thing, but we didn't have an organization paying for our liquor. There was no champagne. We all had to get dressed and leave the stadium as soon as possible so they could clean it up and close it up for the evening. And we had to go to a bar in which we paid out of our pockets for our alcohol. And if my memory serves me correct, nobody bought a bunch of champagne, and we certainly didn't spray it all over the place because, again, we were in a bar, somebody else's establishment. We weren't going to wreck it for the people. There was no hanging plastic over our lockers or nothing. We won the damn thing. We went to the bar. We partied until the sun came up and then went for breakfast. That was it in a nutshell with that championship that I won in 1988 as a 20-year-old rookie playing semi-professional football. So just wanted to test some things out with the camera here, kind of get into an episode. I know I said I was going to try to get those Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday episodes posted. Last 2 episodes I posted on a Tuesday, but I now have one that I can post on a Friday. It will not have the recap of the Dolphins Bills game on it. We'll get that in and get that on Sunday's episode. And again, yeah, fuck it. I'm just going to own up to it. I'm just being a little wishy-washy. Right? I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm not a professional, so I don't have the time in the schedule. I got to work that job and kind of fit things in with the family life. But I really love it, and I hope someday I'll get this thing all figured out. Excuse me. I think I started figuring out some things with how to edit the episodes that I want to throw up on YouTube, the little short clips for the social media, and I'll get better about posting those and getting everything out there. Just want you to tune into the show. If you are a regular listener, I don't care if you're a sports guy, if you know me personally, and you want to come on and tell a fucked up story about me, I'll either own up to it or deny it. But I would really love to start having some guests on the show. So if you do listen to this, drop me a message on Facebook at the Shawn Mackey Show, or my personal profile, Shawn P. Mackey. I'm sure you can Google those and find those if we're not already friends. Hit me up. Let's talk about getting you on the docket. The docket, as they say. We'll get you on the schedule. The schedule, right? So I think I might break this down, though. I know I'm doing season 2, and I've got this sports niche, but sports is kind of a whole giant umbrella category. And I'm really toying with the idea of doing the Bears separate and the Cubs separate. And we're in a great position to do that. I'm in a great position to do that because baseball season's winding down, so I'm fitting them both into the same show. Football season is winding up because we're only in week 3, and I'm doing both in the same show. But by the time Major League Baseball, we get to the World Series, that ends. February, football ends. I could take a little hiatus, get the show up and going, get an entire season in for Major League Baseball next year. But the problem is they overlap, and those are the 2 big sports that I like. But if I do 2 separate podcasts, do the Bears, do the Cubs, then even though they overlap, come next July, we can keep it separate. We could keep them separated. So just have a Cubs podcast and a Bears podcast. Again, ideas floating in the brain. Not sure how we're going to pull it off. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. Like I've said before, I'm opinionated. I'm unedited. And most of all, I'm unpredictable. That's all the time I got for this episode number 8. Thanks for listening. Peace out, my friends. Hey, if I made you laugh, made you think, or even made you smile, please tell all your friends. If I didn't, just keep that shit to yourself. Thanks for listening to the Shawn Mackey Show.